good to be here. Thank you for staying to the end.
We're going to close this thing out.
Puyallup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone's been testing me earlier how to say that. Puyallup. What is Puyallup? But I heard it's Yakima.
You're looking at the wrong person.
I've heard Yakima, but I've also heard Yakima. Like Takama. Takoma. No, doesn't matter.
Well, welcome. How are you liking Washington?
So far, so good. Beautiful weather. Usually rains, so it's been nice to be here during this warm, sunny summer weather. And I really wanted to ride that rickety roller coaster. I feel cheated.
You have to come back at the fair time.
Yeah, is that the only time that thing runs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm glad they knew because I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, because we got one in LA, the Colossus up at Six Flags, and that's pretty impressive. That's like 3 times the size of that, but it's a rickety wooden roller coaster, which I prefer. The classics.
Well, I wanted to spend just a couple minutes asking Adam a few questions I had, but guys, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you have some questions from him, go ahead and start lining up at the mic. And for anybody that has a question that maybe can't get over to the mic, you can just raise your hand at some point and I'll get to you as well.
Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Exactly.
All the fathers out there. All three of my kids called me, so I'm doing something right. I mean, they were nice.
They checked the box today.
One of them actually volunteered to come pick me up at the airport tonight at 11 o'clock. And I said, yeah, you can do that. She lives close to the airport, so it's fine.
Well, one thing I like to ask people, I listen to a lot of podcasts about origin stories for people, how they got started in things, started businesses, how they became successful. What's your origin story into acting?
I grew up in the north side of Chicago, and I played hockey, and I was pretty good, pretty big, and competitive with the other guys. And then my parents got divorced, so I was sort of thrown in the lurch. While my competition went off to hockey camp, I got to stay home and play Frisbee and figure out what the hell was happening, why is my life falling apart. So I couldn't compete with them anymore. What am I going to do? Drama class. So I joined the drama department, and that's sort of my social clique, if you will. And it became, I don't think I would have had a 42-year and counting career in hockey. So it worked out well for me. Yeah, like that. That's what happened. I'm a screw up. Screw up ain't good. How's that? Aren't we all?
I remember seeing My Bodyguard, I think was the first time I saw you in something.
Yeah.
Any good stories from behind the scenes on that one?
Well, My Bodyguard was 1979.
Oh my God.
The song on the radio was Get the Knack's My Sharona. Their album was Get the Knack, for those of you that are old enough to remember that. Anybody gray beards, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I auditioned sort of in May of 79, and got called back to see the director, and then I did a screen test, and a couple weeks later I got the job. I remember getting the, what are you gonna do with your life speech from the assistant principal, Mr. Helfrich. You know, he was a good dude. I was, I'm gonna go into the movies. Yeah, but what are you really gonna do with your life? Here I am. And that was Chicago, 1979. Beautiful cast, crew, it was wonderful. Taught me how to throw a John Wayne punch, a wide knockout punch, pre all that karate stuff, which I don't do. I just do that Western style stuff. My dad used to take me to shoot 'em ups like The Wild Bunch, and Dirty Harry, and The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, stuff like that. So I learned, that was the kind of movie that I enjoyed. So I later got into those sort of things. So that was fun.
A lot of us here, raise your hand if you collect something. I think we have a lot that collect. Yeah, those are my people. How about you? Do you collect anything?
I collect props.
There's what I was hoping to hear. Yeah. What do you got?
Well, when I can. I mean, I borrow them from the production at the end because they're just going to end up filed away in some warehouse at the bottom of a box. And let's see, from Firefly I have Jane's knife, which is really cool. It's a big Bowie knife, that's really cool. The boots. I kept the hat for a while, but then we put it up for auction for the Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation, and somebody bought it for $5,000. Yeah, that was nice. Just a knit cap. The things that were really valuable from the show that what's the word? Borrowed.
Yeah.
I felt if I was able to put them up for a good charitable auction, then Joss or the studio network couldn't hold me too guilty for it. At least it went to a good cause and wasn't stuck somewhere in a warehouse, or a prop museum. Haha. I'd much rather have a private citizen own it and have the proceeds go to a good charity.
I've got a motto, a sign-off I do on my podcasts and live streams, and it's Nerds Unite. It's about all of us coming together, supporting each other, because this world of crazy, and you read comments on YouTube or Facebook, and everybody just wants to tear each other down, but we try to lift each other up. So I live my day by that. Do you have a motto or a phrase or something that gets you through the day and then empowers you?
It's more important to be kind than right, or correct, if you will. Life's too short to be cranky. That was a good one. You are as young as your spine is flexible. Is also a good one. So
That needs to be a shirt.
So keep stretching out there. If you must drink the good stuff. Smile, dance, all that stuff, that which is not love is fear. That's another good one. This has all been said before by someone way wiser than I am. I'm just borrowing again and paying it forward, if you will. Those are sort of my mottos to live by. My goal at the end is to look on my deathbed, look around at the faces of people I've known and loved and say, hey, we shared some love and laughs, right? See you on the other side. And if they're smiling at me, then I did something right.
That's good. That's really good. Let's jump to the questions from the audience. If you'll give us your name, you may have to hit the power button to.
Is it on?
You're
It's on.
perfect. Yeah, give us your name and your question.
My name is Maggie, and John Casey is my favorite character of yours, by far. He's so great. But you've played a lot of characters who are highly skilled with all manners of weaponry, and I was wondering what your favorite firearm you've ever gotten the opportunity to shoot.
Oh, man.
If you can pick. Doesn't have to be your favorite, but something great.
I was blessed to have been given the gift of a show called Gunny Time after Lee Ermey passed away, rest in peace. He went in for a simple surgery, just a little low back disc, and he got infection and sepsis and passed away in the hospital. Terrible. But if Robert Patrick and myself and a couple other guys, we carried that show forward. So I was able to shoot all kinds of stuff, like from just your simple grease gun and Tommy gun to a Barrett 50 caliber sniper rifle, M134 minigun. That was pretty cool. Some 50 cals. But my favorite weapon of all time, I think, for me and my character was that M60 that I got to run around with in Full Metal Jacket. That was pretty cool. A pig carrier. You a big carrier? Yeah. Marine, grew up. But simple stuff. The AR-15 or a Glock 9 is probably your best little Mossberg simplicity. Mossberg shotgun. I have a Benelli, which is if things go south in Los Angeles, I hope to be able to hunker down for a while and survive the problems that may arise in that city. But for now, I just try to say, peace, man. Stay off my threshold. I don't want to come through my door.
Hi, I'm Greta, and I was just curious what you thought when they killed Wash on the season.
A lot of mixed emotions about that. There are a lot of stories that run around there. It was sad and shocking. I think it would have been probably better for the longevity of the series had he survived. But that's second guessing it. That was 2004-05. Came out in 2005. Can you believe it's 16 years ago?
Yeah. I really miss Firefly. I wish they would have continued it.
Yeah, I mean, Jane didn't really care. But I care. I care. Oh, well, there goes Wash.
That's about it.
I'll be in Limbo.
Thank you.
So, you've been really great at making us laugh by pretending to be completely serious. But I was wondering if on set you ever got into some shenanigans that you could share with us. Either
What do you think by shenanigans you mean
like pranks, or I mean, Nathan Fillion was tagged as the smarmiest mother effer in Hollywood by Joss Whedon. So it's like, you know, just something funny that went down that you did or someone else
He
did.
called me the smartest motherfucker?
No, Nathan Fillion.
Oh, yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, most of the hijinks on set were perpetrated by Nathan and Alan. They're the ones that caused most of the trouble. I tried to take it a little more seriously. I realized that we were under the gun, and I felt guilty if I was slowing down the production with, oh, I'm going to do this silly thing in a take, and ha ha ha, maybe it'll be in the outtakes. So that's why I would curse, well, not in mixed company. You know, I would use curse words so that they couldn't be, that they would have to cut them out, and then hopefully they wouldn't show up again. But you know, YouTube, they put everything up on YouTube now, even bad words coming out of my mouth. Can you imagine that? I've been in some R-rated movies. Baby needed new shoes, come on! All my kids are grown now, so I don't have to do that anymore.
Adam, great fan of your work. Thanks for being here. My name's Josh. Love you and Firefly and Chuck, but I'm actually curious about The Last Ship and if you have any kind of cool stories to tell us about working with the Navy or being on an actual destroyer.
Yeah, we were blessed to be invited onto the naval base at San Diego. The technical advisors we had were usually lieutenants, and they made sure that we were as squared away as possible. Anytime we were depicting anything naval, we had to be by the book, and when we were out of uniform, we could take a little more dramatic license. One of my favorite things that happened was when we had the pilot episode and we were picked up to series. I was able to take that episode as an ambassador from the show and fly out during Fleet Week in New York City, fly out on a helicopter to the amphib Oak Hill, and we landed on the deck, and I was welcomed pretty well, and then we screened the pilot episode in the mess hall, and the sound was bad, and the sailors weren't really taking it very seriously at first until the guns started firing off, and they went, oh, this is good. They're blowing shit up. Man. This is good. And then, so then I spent the night on board, and then we sailed up through New York Harbor, and we stood at the rail and rendered honors to Ground Zero and to the USS Cole as it sailed by, the captain and the XO, they were constantly testing me to see what sort of a lame brain Hollywood punk I was, and I think I won them over finally. I don't know, hey, I'm on your side, guys. Come on. But it was a long, involved process to keep it as authentic for the Navy, and then we had, of course, this red flu pandemic, coincidentally, 5, 6, kind of about 8 years ago. So, I mean, that basically lets me know that they knew this was coming. They knew they were doing gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab, and our writers were down with the struggle for that whole thing, and we let you know, and here it comes. That's online, so don't believe that.
Patriot and Full Metal Jacket, when you have to do like historical pieces like that, that were more, you had to portray things that had to be more accurate, do you find those harder than when you're doing things like Firefly and Independence Day and Last Ship and things like that, where I guess you can be a little bit more flexible because you don't have to be as accurate with what you're doing?
Yeah, homework sucks. I enjoy reading, so anything I could try to pull out that would keep it as authentic as possible while still playing at it, that's fun for me. I'm more of a, I guess, a naturalistic performer. I like to react to the scene as it's unfolding. Obviously, you do the preparation, but until I'm actually standing on the set with the other actors saying the words, it's really not real to me. It's just a concept that I'm not quite involved in yet. But yeah, I'll read, like for The Patriot, I read a couple of books on the Revolutionary War, and who were the loyalists, and we weren't the traitors. The loyalists were loyal to the crown, even though the crown sucked. They bet on the wrong side, but they were betting the odds, and they lost. Full Metal Jacket was based on The Short Timers, book by Gustav Hosford, so we read that book, and homework sucks, don't like it. One of the things I need to do is, like, what's the voice? Once you find the voice of the character, like once I knew Jane Cobb's gonna talk like this, or thereabouts, in the rehearsals, I thought, well, that's the guy. And the dialogue will come from that voice, and then you can find your footing. Yes, sir?
Out of curiosity, what do you prefer nowadays? Do you prefer doing live action or do you prefer doing voice acting? Because you have done a lot of voice acting, it's quite, vast that you've done.
Well, both are fun. They're both their own individual animal. Voiceover, you can go to a studio in your pajamas, basically not have to shave, which is fine, no makeup, that's great. I think it was William Holden at one point. He was on, William Holden, the great movie star from the 50s, 40s, 50s and 60s. He was on set in some big action movie, and a makeup person came up to just give a little touch up. And he said, I think his line was, it's a very undignified profession for a grown man. It can be. Oh, yeah, they put you in compromising positions. What was your question again? I forget.
I was just asking, what do you prefer nowadays? Do you prefer still doing live action or do you?
Okay, they're both great. Live action is wonderful because you get to meet new people and adapt to whatever personalities they might bring. Most are very, very professional. Some are problem children that you just have to be patient and work your way through with them. We all know who they are. They're the ones that get killed off early on in season 2. No names, but you know who they are. They're both fun. As long as it's good writing and the dialogue comes out trippingly off the tongue. It doesn't have too many pronouns in it or proper names like a soap opera. That's annoying. Jim said that Frank was coming over leaving with Stella. They were bringing a case of Stella. You thought I was going to say Pilsner or Kettle. Yeah, good writing is easy to do. That's what I tell the writers whenever I do it. That was a really good read. It's good writing. And then if it's crappy, if I'm having trouble, I'm quoting James Caan. If I'm having trouble memorizing it, it's not written right. Basically.
So my question wasn't written right. I get it.
Pretty quick. You gotta get it to him.
You got a future or?
You might want to exit out the back afterwards.
I'm Heather, and huge fan. I have two questions actually. The first one was, what was it like working with the late great Arlie Emery?
Irby? Yeah, the gunny. He was one of my heroes. When we were doing Full Metal Jacket, we were just a bunch of punks, and he was the man. You know, he was a grown man. He was a real Marine, and he kicked our butts.
So he was an actual hard ass.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And but a wonderful, genuine, generous soul. There's a wonderful meme going around online for Father's Day. There's this picture of Gunny Hartman going, "Rah," you know, and then there's a picture of him later in life doing Gunny time, and one's like, "This is what being a father's like, and this is what being a grandfather's like." So, he was just a wonderful soul, hard ass, but we got along great. I remember he invited me to his Gunny challenge, which was target shooting with Glock. He worked for Glock, and they sponsored it. And it was best 2 out of 3, just blink, 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 blink. And I won the first go round. Just heard him go, "Oh, shit, he's going to win. I don't win my own Gunny challenge." And then he came from behind and won. I like to think that, you know, I let him, but no, it's actually, it's a perishable skill for those of you that know. You have to practice. It's like darts. You have to practice. Like pool, like golf, bowling.
And my second question was, is there anything in the works coming up for you that you can talk about?
I did a film with Zach Levi, who played Chuck, for those of you that have seen Chuck. It's called American Underdog. It's the Kurt Warner story, for those of you familiar with Kurt Warner, the Hall of Fame quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. He plays Kurt Warner, and I play Coach Allen. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's been slow during the booting after the pandemic, everything's locked down, but slowly coming back. So there's a lot more work that's becoming available now. So hopefully I'll do that and just go quietly into that fairway.
That was something I wanted to ask about. A bunch of us had to go into lockdown this past year. Did you spend some time taking on some new hobbies or learning something new or trying something new during that time?
Well, the beautiful thing about, I'm a golfer, so the beautiful thing about golf is it was pretty much wide open for us in the whole pandemic. So I never lost my hobby, even though things were locked down. I mean, I played more golf in the last year and a half than I have my whole life probably. So it didn't really, didn't affect me too much. I mean, my mom got COVID, she recovered from it, bless her heart. And she's 85 and frail, and so I didn't have anyone in my immediate family that passed away from it, but I know that a lot of people did, and it's a bad virus. And you know, I'm just coming off of a cold. I don't know if you can hear it, but I had a cold like 2 weeks ago. I went to visit my brother in Boulder. He's got a grandson there, and he was sick, so we all got kind of a cold. And anything can take you out, man. Stay strong. Stay strong as you can, but you never know. Could be a bus, could be a virus, could be sepsis. So turn to your left and say, "I love," to the person to your left. "I love you."
I love you.
You never know. Well, I like you.
Have a question?
I loved to hate you in X-Files. Do
Good.
you have any fun X-Files stories to share?
The director, Kim Manners, was a yeller, but he was a yeller like a coach is a yeller. You know, he would try to motivate everyone to get it done. He was one of those guys. And the first night on, so fortunately I had worked with Kubrick and I had worked with other guys that yelled, so it didn't shock me. So I knew he was kind of trying to shock me that first night. We're up in Griffith Park, and it was 3 in the morning, and it was probably 40 degrees and foggy, so it was cold. And Gillian Anderson was giving birth to an alien in the back of an SUV or something weird. And, you know, Kelly's yelling at us, like, wait, come on, finish, what are you doing? Finish the scene. Okay, I knew my stuff, and I pushed back at him and he started laughing. So I felt proud of that. It's just one of those things. But my favorite thing from that whole experience on X-Files wasn't even on the show. I had like a prosthetic rubber lizard spine ball thing on my neck, and I wore it home one day. And my kids were small, and my wife, when I get home, my wife's cooking dinner, and distracted, blah, blah, blah. She goes, hey, you're good, you're home, great, can you take the trash out, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. My neck is really bothering me. Could you just like, give it a little tweak, because she's like, all right, distract. She comes over, puts her hands on my neck without even looking at it, and then, of course, my kids got a big kick out of that one. Mommy thought it was real. You know, because they know I'm a pretender. So.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Me again. How did you meet your wife?
Haha. She was a prison guard in Folsom. My wife was an actress before she had children, and then that sort of ruined her career, especially after 3. We met in my old living room. I had a roommate, and he had a TV show, and she was working on his show as her secretary. And we just all became friends, started running the same circles. Our house was kind of the party house. We would hang out and watch, because he had a big screen TV. It was one of the first, I don't know if you ever saw one of these gigantic console projection screens. Well, he had to have one because he's a movie guy. So we would hang out and watch TV, and that's where folks would come and, you know, what young people do, hang out, stay up late. What was the TV? Like we, you know, our kids here. Anyway, we became friends then.
And what do you think has made your marriage last? Because it's been a long time.
Oh yeah, it's 32 years now. 33 years this year. 33 years, 24 years of wedded bliss. Raise your hand if you've been married over 30 years. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So you guys know, you know what I mean. I think the most important thing to, the key to longevity in marriage is honesty and respect and patience and me keeping my mouth shut. Happy wife, happy life. There's no truer words. I think it's mostly just respect and honesty, and also stay busy, getting out and doing stuff. You do stuff together, but you also do stuff apart. You stay busy and have outside. You don't throw away your friends for the marriage. You know what I mean? So you can still have your guy. I mean, golf for me is like I still got my golf buddies that I've known. Three of my golf buddies, I've known them longer than my wife. So there's that. And it's really just the simple things. Don't sweat the small stuff. And we all do. None of us are perfect. We all fight about stupid stuff. But why fight about stupid stuff? Fight about the big stuff. Where's that money?
Thank you.
Uh-oh, I know this guy.
I know, so does he. Happy Father's Day. And what kind of charities or things do you give your time, your effort, your money into to help give back and causes that you love because you find yourself in a position do a little more sometimes. So.
Well, the ones that I've been involved with have been military related for the families, especially for the families in fallen. So give money to the Folds of Honor, the Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation. The men and women of the armed forces, they sacrifice so much. The families do so much that when you can give back to them, I don't know a better one. So that's what I try to focus on. I did a thing called Ride to Recovery. It's an organization that's no longer up and running, but we went to many different places, and it took injured soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and we'd get back on bicycles, and we would ride across a state, like we did the Texas Ride to Recovery. There's the California Ride to Recovery. There's one where we went to Normandy in France, and to the cemetery, the American Cemetery in Normandy. It's amazing how in France, Parisians can be a little more standoffish. Snooty is the word. But in Normandy, they love the Americans because, we won the war. It was a beautiful experience. It's nice to see guys, because, soldiers and military personnel, they're basically athletes. They're strong, and they want to run and jump and fight. And when they're hurt, they can't. So it brings back the esprit de corps to get back on a bike. And, we're riding 90 miles today. You're coming. It hurts. I can't. My back, my leg, my this, my that. But come on, man. Here we go. And that was a beautiful thing.
Welcome back.
You wrote another question.
I wrote another
Second
terrible
draft.
writing question for you, so get ready. Hopefully you can memorize this one.
I can't hear you. Well, full. You can take your mask off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you hear me better? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Another bad writing for you. Since you've been in Independence Day and you've done a lot of weird films, I was kind of curious because the military is finally releasing the UFO films, clips. They're still denying or not denying about the existence of, aliens and stuff like that. What's your thought about that by any chance? Out of curiosity.
I think they wouldn't tell us even if, I think it's all disinformation. Why would they tell us that there were UFOs if it was really military? Or vice versa? If you think about the distances that UFOs or aliens would have to travel to get here, it's too far. It's too far. So I think they're vehicles that are ours. But if you say it's a UFO, then you don't have to disclose what technology we have.
That's true. That's pretty good.
No, I don't have any hard evidence. I just think physically, where's the nearest possible planet? How many? It's a couple of light years. It's a couple miles down the street. Yeah. Third star to the left, straight out until morning. Yeah.
Welcome.
So my name is Mark, and you've done wonderful work. I like all your work. And this is not a question so much as a statement. The best scene that you portrayed brilliantly in all your acting career is naming a gun and trying to trade it for an underage girl. I know that sounds really bad and creepy,
Well, I don't know about you, but she didn't look underage to me.
it's part of the show.
She had crow's feet. That makeup can't cover that stuff.
You did it brilliantly, though. It was the way that you portrayed it, the way that you acted it, and that whole series, Firefly, had me laughing. I turned my sister onto it. She saw you at another show, and she ended up getting you to sign something for me. So I have a thing saying, "Hi, Mark." Being one of the third children, I was kind of in between the other ones, and it was like, but it was really neat to get that, and it's like, because I turned her onto the series, and
You're the middle of three?
Yes, the middle of three.
You're just like my brother, John. I'm the baby, and I got an older brother, Bill, and John's he's the nice one. The middle
Yeah, well, I'm the nice one too, so.
You have to.
Do we have any other questions? I know sometimes coming up to the mic can be a little scary. You can just raise your hand if you have a question and shout it out from your seat. How about you?
So, with your acting career, you had to do a lot of different things. Which one was your hardest, and what did you do to get through it?
Hardest. Physically?
Either physically, mentally?
Mentally? Hardest. I never thought it was hard.
Like a difficult scene that you're like, this is just frustrating me.
Bad writing. Wasn't my fault.
It was his fault.
Pesky writer. Gosh, I don't know. There were a lot of physical challenges on Full Metal Jacket. We had to run around and get our kids, I can't say it. Our neithers in the dirt, shall we say? It was just fun. I was 23, so it was fun and hard physically, but still, I think breathing all that coal dust was probably the worst. They had blue asbestos also sprinkled around that little derelict gasworks too. So, but I think if that was going to get me, it would have gotten me by now. Maybe that explains the cold.
I saw a hand over here.
I think theater, I've done some theater stuff. That's harder because you really have to, there's so much stuff to memorize. It just takes forever. The rehearsal process is a lot longer. And especially now with all the distractions and online stuff and TV and older, it's hard to memorize all this stuff. So, and I was never really a speechifier. I've always been sort of a reactionary force. I like to consider myself, if I had a tagline for I'd be sniper funny. You know, pick my moments, and there's the fun. There we go. There's a punchline, dry humor. And because they cast me in tough guy roles, I'm not that tough. I'm not that weak, but I'm not that tough. I mean, I know real tough guys. So it's fun it has been fun for me to be able to pretend to be tough all these years. Yeah. But I'm just a pussycat. You have a question back there?
So I had a question. What would you like, now that the world's coming back online and we can start doing movies again or TV series, would you want to do more series, more movies, a comedy, a drama, sci-fi, Marvel, Star Wars? Where would you like to see yourself going? Anything, right?
No. All of that's fun. It's just.
The writing has to be good. So
Yeah, the writing has to be good. It's got to be good writing.
What would you like to do?
I'm comfortable in any capacity on any show unless it's clearly a soap opera. Yeah. But I mean.
Would you do a live show, like a sitcom episode that was live, or?
Like American Ninja Warrior? No. Oh, like a live reunion show of Firefly? How lame would that be? That would be so weak. I like audience participation, except you guys are killing me. Maybe a family comedy. I think I'm ready for the dad role now. I want to be the grumpy old dad. Because I'm not that old and I'm not that grumpy, but I can pretend to be both. I would have the energy. You know who's got the perfect job is that guy on Modern Family. What's his name?
Ed O'Neill.
Yeah, that's the perfect gig. it's like 2 days a week, you're the grumpy dad, and then you get to go to judo practice the rest of the week. He's a badass, by the way. You know, I think he's like 4th degree black belt in judo. He's one of the honestly tough guys in Hollywood. Yeah.
And never played an action role.
No.
How interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
He played Popeye or touchdowns in Popeye.
Oh, there you go.
He what?
Full guy, baby.
Touchdowns
Yeah.
in Popeye.
There you go. There you go.
We had a question over here.
You never told us what you borrowed from Chuck.
Thanks for bringing it back.
Let's see. A couple of coffee mugs with guns on them. I think I still have the suit. I kept the suit, black Casey suit, just in case I needed it for a funeral or something. You know, there's a lot, it's like online auditions now, there's no in-person auditioning anymore, so if you're gonna audition, they call it a self-tape, but there's no tape anymore. You're recording it on your iPhone on a little tripod with a ring light, and your wife is off camera reading the off-camera dialogue because, well, she was an actress once, but then got pregnant too many times, so now all she does is off-camera dialogue. Self-tapes. So I kept the suit so I could wear it. Oh, I'm auditioning now for a lawyer. Well, jumpsuit, blue tie, white shirt, crop right here. I am now a lawyer. It's hard for me to take those self-tapes seriously, although I do. Because for 35, 38 years, you'd go in and you'd actually have to wait in the office, in the outer office, and then you'd go and say, hi, oh, so good to see you, so excellent. Any questions about this material? No, let's just dive right in, okay. This is Janine, she'll be reading with you off camera. Okay, great. And then me and Janine. Is anyone here named Janine? Perfect. So Janine, love Janine. The Janines of the world in Hollywood are fabulous. They're the assistant camera, or assistant casting directors, and they're just getting their start, but they've clearly had some training in acting because they can't, well, the good ones can read, the good ones can read. And then you'll read it with them, and hopefully you have it all memorized. If it's written right, it's easy to memorize. And then you'll do it, and they'll say, thank you very much. And we're gonna send this tape, now it's an iPhone, we're gonna send this recording to the higher ups because they're the ones that are gonna make the decision. But now you can just do it at home. And you can do it as many times as you like. And you can just send it in, and it's as good as it's ever gonna get. Now the question is, do you want a white wall as your backdrop, or do you want like a blue? Do you go out and do you paint it blue? Do you buy a backdrop that just makes it look nice? I just use as cheap as I can. I'm just cheap. I just use the white wall. It doesn't matter. You're gonna hire me or you're not. That's right. Paint it green. That's not bad. I don't know how to do that though. My wife, I'd have to have my wife figure that out, how to put in like stars and planets and whatever.
Any other questions?
Okay, bye.
I thought we had a hand over here earlier. Joe? Was it Joe?
Goof ups on screen or goof ups on filming. What's your favorite one?
Goof ups?
The moment, what it's called just escaped my mind.
Bloopers.
Bloopers? Yeah.
Well, again, I think I mentioned this earlier. I don't really have a good reel of bloopers because when I feel it's going wrong, that I'm spitting the words out incorrectly, I will start cursing and and I'll keep cursing until the director says, "Okay, cut." And those are my bloopers, really. Whereas the Nathan Fillion geniuses of the world will go on and make it a classic blooper. But that's not my bag, man. I'm just trying to keep it rolling along. Because I know the crew wants to go home and have dinner with their kids. They don't want to be working into a Friday, 3, 4 in the morning on a Saturday. Forget about it. They lose their weekend. So I feel responsible feel responsible for the cast and the crew to get it right, and if I got it wrong, I'm gonna start swearing. I'll say it myself, you know. But that's the thing, you know, you memorize the lines, memorize the scene, you rehearse the scene, but you don't take into account all the other little distractions that are going on. You got the camera there, you got the boom guy there, you got the catering. Well, lunch is coming in. Hey, Wally, great, setting up lunch. Okay, great. So you have to absorb all of this stuff in the background while staying within the four walls of the scene. And after 2 or 3 takes, great. But I'm not a first take guy. I'm like a 4th take guy. In the first 3 takes, I'm just sort of learning where my feet go, where the props are, how funny the guy is with me in the scene, so I can keep a straight face. That sort of thing. Zach Levi, first take guy, second take guy, third take guy. He's like a musician's mind, and he's a great leader. So he's one of those guys that can just photographic memory, gets it right every time. Hate that. Makes me look bad.
Yet you keep working with him.
Man, I would keep working with him in a heartbeat. It's good though. When you have a guy like that as number one, the pressure's on you to bring it. So that's good pressure. But I'll give him a wink and I'll say, take 2, 3, 4. I'll be good. So you can throw away and take 1, 2, 3 for yourself. Unless it's your close-up, then do whatever you're gonna do. But I'm gonna be over here learning it.
Do you have any go-to movies that you watch every year?
Well, yeah, it's the clicker test. You're clicking along, and what movies will you stop on and go, I gotta see this. And you know, Full Metal Jacket is one of them. I just happen to be in that one, but it's just one of those ones you can check in anywhere. It's like, I love this scene, and I'm gonna watch the next 3 or 4 scenes after that. Maybe even watch it to the end. So that's one of them. That's a classic. Godfather, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Dirty Harry, stuff like that. What's that one I'm watching recently? Oblivion. I don't know. Something about something about that movie is really just intoxicating. Until the 3rd act, then it kind of falls apart. But the first 2 acts are really cool. The 3rd acts are hard. 3rd acts are probably the hardest to write.
That's the Shawshank Redemption rule at our house. If it's on, you put the remote down and finish it.
Yeah. Shawshank's another perfect movie. Toy Story 3, perfect movie. Perfect movie. Yes.
One more question. So if you and your wife were to have a dinner party, name 5 people that you would like to have history, movies, directors, friends, actors that you would
God, not actors.
Anybody. Historical figures. Who would you invite 5 people to your dinner party?
Well, I guess Einstein would be one. Just to see the hair. Real. Muhammad Ali. He would be amazing. Joan of Arc. Genghis Khan.
Bill and Ted.
So crazy.
Yeah, so crazy. Probably. Who else? You know, someone like Robert Mondavi. Like, how did you build a wine empire? And he would bring great wine too. Yeah, something like that. I mean, there are villains in history you'd want there just to, like, why the hell did you do that? I won't name them, but we know who they are. That sort of thing, you know, historical figures. I guess my grandfather, I would like to, sit with him. You know, he died before I was born.
How about the gentleman in the amazing SummerCon shirt there?
You mentioned you're a big reader. What are your favorite books?
My favorite books? I was a big Michael Crichton fan. I love reading his books. Clancy, like Tom Clancy, Ken Follett, Frederick Forsyth, nonfiction guys named Thomas Sowell. Stuff like that.
Yes, sir. How about you in the front row?
What actors would you like to work with?
Actors I'd like to work with? Work with. I'd like to work for Tom Cruise or Mark Wahlberg, guys like that. Meryl Streep. People that you really have to bring it. I worked briefly with De Niro. It was such a small scene, though. It was in a thing called Guilty by Suspicion, and it went by so fast I didn't even have a chance to really sink my teeth in. I just played a clumsy FBI agent.
Somebody thought that was funny.
Well, yeah, the FBI's, they're not doing so well these days. Bad reputation, don't they? Yes, sir.
Chuck once said, Casey, you have a jaw that was etched by Michelangelo himself. Aside from that, what else do you think you have in common with Colonel Casey?
Oh, I think a love of Downton Abbey. I don't like the Crown Vic. I think that's a crappy car. And it's really uncomfortable. Not to burst your bubble. 6 Sauer aficionado, perhaps. Yeah, like that. Calvin Klein suits. I still have one.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks.
I think we have time for one more question.
I was just wondering how it was working with Heath Ledger on the picture.
Oh, Heath Ledger was a pleasure. Just such a sweetheart, and one of those 100% committed. Loved his craft. Such an amazing performer. Another one of those guys who passed away way too young. Tragic. I just remember him as being a sweetheart, nice, dedicated, committed to the role, committed to the project, and a true movie star, a class act. That guy was a movie star and an actor, not just a movie star, but also an actor. There are a few guys like that. I mean, the difference between like an actor and a movie star. Like Burt Reynolds was good, but he was more of a movie star than an actor's actor. De Niro's more of an actor's actor than he is a movie star. Pacino's kind of both, at least in his heyday, he was both. Heath was both.
Thank you. And you were amazing in that movie.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's put our hands together for Adam Baldwin.
Thank you very much. Have a great summer.
for coming. It was great to meet you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to see it.
Good questions.